Hi, how are you doing today? Let me ask you a question. What do you believe your worth is? Think about it. What is your worth? The second question is, and who taught you that? Today, I want to talk about the worth that God gives us because I think that will really help us with comparison and feeling kind of, not important compared to other people, right? So today's verse is First Samuel 16:7. So let me read that for you. People look at the outer appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. You guys know this verse, right? Mm, it just is saying that God looks at the heart, but people look at outer things. This is not talking about God saying it's okay to be ugly on the outside as long as you are pretty inside. That's a little bit too shallow for this verse. It's actually showing two completely different ways of seeing things. God is purposely comparing these two sides of the standard. One is a worldly standard and what is God's standard. And the outer appearance is not just the looks, but it could be how much money you make. What kind of school did you go to? How many kids do you have? I mean, are your kids behaving really well? Or I'm not sure, anything. Anything that world values, they try to give you the currency value on you. That's one of the worldly values. The other side that God's value is the worth that he gives to you doesn't change. So he breathes his life in us, whether we are Christians or not. It actually doesn't matter. He actually brings in this worth that doesn't change, and we are created in his image. But if you meet Jesus in person and your life completely unravels and you follow Jesus, yes, then your whole life shifts, right? And you know your worth and you become invincible in such a way that you're not bound by the worldly ways of living. And I think that's really powerful. Not to boast, things like that, but I many times find myself being in this system of this world, being influenced by being compared, right? Being compared because the world is loudly saying to me, if you have this, you are worth it. If you have this, you are more valuable. This, all these things, beauty, health, or human connections, all of this. But what if I don't have that? So for me, I'm in the other side where I don't have much of those. Doesn't mean that my worth is lower than other people, the worth that God gives. Or on the other hand, there's extreme side where let's say you are on top of the school, you're so knowledgeable and your job is amazing and you have a beautiful wife and beautiful kids. Does that mean that your worth goes up? Bible doesn't say so. The world will say that your worth goes up by having those things, but God says, actually, the worth I give you is not influenced by anything. Nobody can take it away. So I thought that's really funny in a way because I think Satan is pretty smart because he knew that he cannot take away this inherent value that was instilled in us. So what he did was he completely glued the worldly way of values with God's values. So we get confused. So we are like, oh, okay, if I look good and if I have a good pretty girlfriend, that means my value goes up, my net worth goes up, which is not true. Or on the other hand, if you don't have any job and if you're homeless, let's say, your value goes down. So Satan knew that he cannot take away. So he put these two opposite things together that when we see things, when we live on this earth without thinking, we get influenced by it. I find myself being influenced by that all the time. And unless I ground myself in the word, okay, what does God say about this? Then I get depressed. I get sad. For example, last week we had a car breakdown because the wheel fell off in the snow, remember? If you guys saw other episode, there's a lot of drama there. And we thought we can't fix it, but our mechanic friend said, let's just fix the minimal amount and maybe you guys could drive maybe 2 to 3 months, whether you look for a car or something, right? So we agreed to do that. So we fixed it. It wasn't cheap. And we brought the car back. And I was picking my second son who's in high school, and I was bringing him, and I said, "Oh yeah, the white car's back. It's a bit beat up, but it's workable." And he was like, "Oh, Mom, do you plan to fix it?" And I said, "Oh, I think we'll be okay not fixing it. Why?" And he's like, it's kind of, like it'd be hard for me to hang out with friends. And I understood what he meant. And I did say, hey, you know your worth doesn't change based on what you have, remember? And then he's like, Mom, I know that truth, but I'm 17 years old. And then he went to his room. So I was like laughing out loud because I completely get him. They're good kids. I mean, white car before was not in a good shape, but right now it's a really bad situation. And I remember when I was in 20s where I was dating my husband, we're in early 20s and he was very poor because he was in seminary. And somebody gave him this car, Toyota Camry, about 23 years old, over 200 miles, well over that. That part I don't really didn't care much because I'm not really into cars. But when he came to pick me up for a date, man, the side of the light is all broken. And then on the back, somebody hit his car, so it's dented. And surprisingly, it didn't bother him. It never did. He did not care about those things. Maybe that's why I really valued our relationship as friends. And, now we're married. Because for me, I just go swayed. I get swayed by that all the time. He didn't. So I was like thinking, now I'm 46 years old, and now I'm more grounded in God, and riding like a maybe beat up car doesn't affect me as much as when I was in 20s. So thank God. Thank God. But I think if we are not careful to ground ourselves in this truth, because we're living in this system, we will be affected. For example, let's say you are getting older and you're getting wrinkles and dots in your face. Does it affect your worth? Or you don't have really good job right now. You're just going one job to the other. Does it affect your worth? You're up and down with faith. Does it affect your worth? No, none of it cannot affect your worth because God has you. So that's so encouraging to me because even though I might go up and down with comparison and not feeling good enough, I could see him because he's rock. He's solid rock that doesn't move. He is definitely a good foundation to stand on because he doesn't move around. So when God says, I see you, he doesn't mean I just see your character and if you're nice and good and dandy, then you're good to go. He's not saying that. He's saying that he sees your essence. He sees who you are, right? Heart doesn't mean emotions or personality. So it's the part that where God breathed in you when he was creating you, right? And the part that world cannot change or influence. The part that no failure, no wrinkles, or no opinions can change. So that's a great place for us to stand when we feel not good enough. So before you guys head out, I want to read this prayer for you. May you be released from every heavy thing you were never meant to carry, every expectation, every comparison, every standard that made you feel not enough. May you remember today that your worth is not built on what people see, but on who God has always known you to be. May the shifting things in your life lose their power to define you, and may the unshakable part of you, the part God breathed into you, rise to the surface again. I bless your heart with clarity. The outside may change, but your essence does not. I bless your mind with peace. You are held, seen, and deeply known by the God who looks at the heart. May your spirit rest in the truth that nothing in this world, not appearance, not success, not failure, not aging, not circumstances can touch the worth God placed inside you. And may you walk into tomorrow not trying to prove who you are, but simply being who you already are. Amen to that. Deeply loved, deeply valued, and wonderfully held. Amen. So I bless you for another day. And until we meet again,